endorse culture. But hover over them, and you can kind of get kind of like a nice synopsis of it. Like I liked reading the last jousting tournament. The world is changing, but for now, for one last time, let the Knights of Castile ride. Yeah, it's a nice little excerpt. So yeah, so that's culture. Yeah, let me just drink some water. Okay. This is our missions and missions and decisions screen. We can see up here our current mission, what our current mission is. For the big nations, like the important nations, I don't have the list memorized. You can see them for Europa Universalis IV. In fact, they're being very open about what the different opportunities for them are going to be. But the big nations like Portugal, Castile, Aragon, France, England, these countries will have a lot. Okay, not Aragon, but Castile, Portugal, France, and England. These guys will have a lot of historical missions. Okay, for example, France's mission right now is to recover Aquitaine. So fight England and recover Labour and Gascony. While England's mission is to vassalize Scotland. See a historical theme to it. Poland also must have conquer Varmia, which is up here. Sweden, what is it? Bring civilization to the Lapps, so colonize Lapland. Actually, that's an example. See, this is what I was talking about, colonizable. I cannot colonize this because this province cannot be reached via any ports connected to our capital. But Sweden and Norway can try to fight for whoever gets Lapland first, and that will create a colony out of it. In fact, I believe some of these might be colonies up in northern Finland. Anyway, so for like Tripoli, Tunisia, Algiers, I don't think they even have any historical missions, so they'll just have very generic ones. These kind of help shape your country and the AI countries' futures. Like England will now actively try to vassalize Scotland once they get that mission. For example, if you're playing as the Irish, like Leinster, if England gets conquer Ireland for their first mission, pretty much just say reload. I mean, that's what I had to do when I was playing as Leinster, because they'll immediately come after you. So the AI, you can look at what the AI's missions are and see what their current objective is. So going back, so right now I can see what I have to do. Have better relations than 100. The green asterisk means it's already done. The red means it's still not done. So I still have to get a royal marriage with Portugal. And if you remember back way when, I already sent, we have a diplomat en route to Portugal to ask them for a royal marriage. So once I complete this, I gain 1 stability, which is great. It's a huge thing. If I do not want this mission, or I don't think I'm going to complete this mission, I can just click cancel here. This, however, will cost us 5 prestige, and we will not be able to cancel another one for the next 5 years. You will always have a mission, no matter what. I don't think I've ever played a game where you'd run out of missions. You'll just you'll end up just going into end up going into very generic missions. But so once if I cancel this mission, then another one will pop up. And also it depends on the era. So once I hit maybe like 1450, it'll start asking me to search and colonize the New World, because 1492, Christopher Columbus actually does it. So it depends on the era. Yeah. Down here are national decisions. Again, these are very, very macro. Right now, you can't do any of them until later on, and new national decisions will appear later on in the game. These are just the ones that are here right now. So you can see for past 10 years Abolition Act, so you can read about what it is, what you have to do for it. So we don't even have government technology level 8 yet, and the advantages of it. So you can see national decisions are another way of affecting our domestic policies. So this will free subjects gain 2, innovative gain 1. And will get the 10 Years Abolition Act, which will pop up in the modifiers over here. Right now we don't have anything that we want to do. But right now, what I am moving towards, though, is form the Spanish nation. Obviously, France does not have this national decision, but I do, because I'm part of the Iberian culture group. Or because I am Castile, actually. I don't think Portugal obviously doesn't have it, but Aragon does have the option as well. I'm not sure if I don't think Navarra has the option to form the Spanish nation. So I see what I need. So I need to own Barcelona, Aragon, Valencia, and then I have to have a core on them. And then Spain gains core on all of those, and country changes to Spain. As you can see at the very bottom, you gain centralization, gain 2, country changes to Spain. So obviously that's why I've been saying that I'm going to go and either conquer Aragon or more neatly put them into a personal union like they did historically with Castile. Although historically Aragon put Castile into a personal union, but for the points of this game I'm going to put them into my personal union. The other ones are generic. Everyone gets them. Everyone in Western Europe at least gets them. But always keep an eye on decisions. There'll be new ones as time goes on. Maybe every 50 years, I suppose. Maybe new ones come up. For example, for France, one that pops up, and I think in 1700 onwards, is the option to build the Palace of Versailles. So you can build Versailles, and depending on if you're an absolute monarchy and a few other stuff, then you can build it, and it gives you some advantages. For England, there's one builds the wooden wall, which helps them build cheaper ships to protect the channel. So it'll change over time. And yeah, that's actually it for missions and decisions. And furthermore, that's it for the national overview. I'm going to take any questions that are there now. Does anybody have any questions whatsoever from the 24 people watching right now? By the way, for those people who, because I don't think there's 24 people in the chat right now, for those of you that want to chat, all you have to do is make an account on Twitch, and then you can chat on the sidebar. Oh, and someone just corrected me. Navarra can form Spain or France. So Navarra can form Spain or France. So if France no longer exists, then they can form it. It's actually interesting. Why? Yeah. As you can see, France starts off very decentralized. For those of you that don't know French history, it's because the French king was always very weak. In fact, if you play Crusader Kings 2, you'll notice that the French king only starts out with very little territory while he has very strong vassals. So this is kind of emblematic of even now. But it's changing. And as France centralizes, they become an extremely big threat. An extremely big threat. Not only to me, but to everyone else. In fact, they're commonly referred to as the Big Blue Blob. For those of you that are just arriving, stay. I'm going to continue talking, but then you can go back and watch from the beginning. Because I'll always make references back and forth, because I know that people are coming in and out. Yeah. Okay, so any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Any questions whatsoever? Nothing? No? Nope. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna... Okay. So, now we've talked about everything here, I suppose. I'm going to go through diplomacy and then through the ledger. Because some things in the ledger can get a bit difficult to understand. So let's take Aragon first for diplomacy. To conduct diplomacy, all you have to do is just click on any province they control. That's their color. So we can see up here their king, Marti the First Dargo. Um, we can see what skill their king has, or their queen, or their president, or their stadholder, if you're Dutch, whatever. We can see our current relations with them, 110, which is good. Anything above 100 is good. Anything above 0, frankly, is good. But 100 means that we're friendly with them, you could say. We are neutral towards them. They have an honorable reputation. They are willing to trust us somewhat. Boom. Yeah. So that's good. We can see they're Catholic, like us. We can see the bonuses of being Catholic, which I already showed you guys. They are Catalan. Their primary culture group is Catalan, but it's the same as Castilian, such as us. Their land and naval tech. So we can click here just quickly, and we can see that Algiers has land and naval of 5. So they're actually stronger than us in land and naval. While Aragon has 3 like us, they're backwards like us. And we can, if you hover over the current relations, you can see how it's being changed. Currently, I think it's 0 for everyone. We don't. Oh, here, Foix, for example, the Duchy of Foix, we're getting plus 0.72 because of a diplomatic skill, but minus 0.11 from our prestige. You see, they're a duchy rather than a kingdom. And I think duchy means if they're a kingdom, but they only own 1 province, I believe. Rome, also 0. But I mean, as the game goes on, you can see why people are trying to break relations with you or increasing relations with you. See their flag, their stability, their rank in the world, and their prestige. And this is basically all their information about them. So we can see that they're allied with Sicily, royal marriage with Sicily, subjugation, casus belli on Navarra. I'll talk about casus belli in a second, so on and so forth. So guaranteeing the independence of the knights. You can read about them right here. See, has the mission vassalized Navarre. So I can see what they're most likely going to do immediately. Here's where their remember, national ideas. This is where their national ideas would be. We can already see them for Algiers, for Morocco. But right now, they have none. No one in Europe has any. So that's that. Down here, we can see who they've hired, which 3 great men they've hired. The game hasn't begun, so some countries start off with historical ones, I believe, like Nuno Alvarez Pereira. Grand Captain, level 6 for Portugal. That's really amazing. Anyone else? England. Geoffrey Chaucer, if everyone knows Chaucer. He's an artist, plus 4. Artists, by the way, are very good because they help with stability. They help you increase stability. France has 2, Jean Chalier de Gerson and Pierre Daillet, which is good, natural scientist. So some of them will start off with historical people. Others, most people will start off with none, and they'll pick immediately when the game begins. Going back to Aragon, here are all our decisions with them that we can do. We can declare war. So this is casus belli. Right now we don't have casus belli. Casus belli in Latin means just war. So basically we have no just war with them. Which basically means that if we try to attack, we're going to get -2 stability, which is terrible. And on top of that, because we have positive 100, plus 100 relations with them, we're also going to get another -1 stability because of that. These numbers right here mean stability, subtraction of stability. Here I would click my casus belli, but I have no casus belli. So it's stuck at stuck there at -2. And I can see who they're allied with. They are allied with Sicily. So most likely, Sicily will join them in the war. If I'm a ginormous power, which I kind of am, I suppose, Sicily might break their alliance with Aragon and decide not to join in the war against me. This also depends on who they would bring into a war. So if I'm allied with Aragon and I ask them to come into a war with me, they might they'll probably ask Sicily if they would join my war along with them to fight Granada, which I'll talk about in a second. Here I can click automatically call allies. I have no allies, so I cannot call any.